Good afternoon. Welcome to my video on Micronaut Vuejs CQRS. I already did a video on this a couple of weeks ago, but I've had to redo the whole concept or work on the concept to make it more CQRS based as such, because previously it didn't fully comply to how CQRS should work. So I will try and keep it short, but my own terminology for it, it's a bit like Einstein combined with Frankenstein. So CQRS, the concept itself, seems pretty easy. All you're doing is you're separating your write side of your application from the read side. So just imagine having two versions of the same app, one doing the writing to the DB and one doing the reading. But when you try and put all this together and make it work through microservices, there are lots of issues along the way and things that need to be resolved. So I've tried my best to make it work. I've actually provided in the README a full breakdown of what actually happens in this application, and I'm going to try and walk through it. So this is the project home. It's not running at the moment, and I want to talk through how to get it started from brand new scratch system as such. So first of all, if you've downloaded it from GitHub, you may need to go into front end, and I hope I don't have this problem. My screen keeps going. I think I've had an update that's causing problems. If you do npm, sorry, you will have no node modules. So it will be like this, and if you just run, and you may have to run npm install. If you can't get the front end to start, you may have to just run that in the front end folder before you follow the instructions. I don't think I've added that to the README. So what I wanted to do is this application, in the gateway command, I'll go through things more properly in a minute, but in gateway command is where it happens as a an init folder, which loads in loads of demo data, and the demo data are actually events that get passed, or commands that get passed from gateway to wherever, and they get generated, and you've got users and hotels. And because it's a demo application, it does it on every boot, and because it happens on every boot, it regenerates the same events over and over again. So you will eventually end up filling up Kafka, and it will take longer and longer to start. So you need to do something else to get around it for testing. So my easiest way is to run this rm-rf temp Kafka logs before I start it, and that clears out Kafka for me. So it's a brand new fresh start. I've added that to the configure.md to suggest that you should do that. It's not been checked in. You will also need Docker to be running. So I'm going to get Docker running, and I'm going to get Kafka running here. So we're not really interested in what these two are doing. What we need, so we've done that on our front end. We've also done the npm install, so it's a fresh thing. What we need is I normally test this through two interfaces, or have two separate windows for the two different things that happens. Doesn't really matter. We're not really interested in those. They're running now. So what we want to do is in configure.md or in the README, I've said to start it, you can run this. So I want to run this kill -9, and then on this window, I want to do Gradle W. I mean, if we do gateway query run, front end is start and user base read run. Let's get rid of this. You can see it's not better. There's nothing running anyway, so it's fine. And then if we do user base writes run, so we've started up front end, which is Vuejs. We've started up user base read. We've started up gateway query, which is to do with the read side of things. And user base write. I would thoroughly recommend reading this part of the README, which kind of goes through what I'm starting up or what these applications are. It hopefully make more sense to you at that point. So I can never spell it properly. And then on this one, we want to do Gradle W gateway command, which is for writing run, hotel read run, and hotel write run, and that will be our complete set of applications, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 applications. I think I spelled that wrong. Oh yeah, I spelled it wrong. So what will happen now is the gateway command, as it comes up, it will go through all of these events that you've just seen and trigger a bunch of commands through the event publisher. So event publisher it's Kafka event publisher, and it picks up a topic which is command, a T object, which is basically this command object that you can see here. It's got some basic stuff in there like event type, instant, transaction ID, host and port, current user, and all of these objects hang off of commands. So hotel deleted command, extends command. So all of these commands, they're actually your forms that the user will be filling in on the web front end. And you've got save and saved. So when it's done a save and write, it sends it as a saved to read, and read picks up a saved command. So that's really the differences. So over here now, you can see loads of events have been generated and sent off, and I'll talk you through that in a minute. So it generates these commands and it sends it through Kafka to the provided topic, which goes through the Kafka sender to send it to wherever. And that the topics are decided by, here you can see here, hotel and user. And that's the path of the data being loaded up. Now, typically the user would be hitting gateway controller. The gateway controller also has a WebSocket connection as well. So when the user what the user actually does is they hit the front end, which is Vuejs. The Vuejs app has in the services, you can see it, 8082, 8081. 8081 is your read, 8082 is your write. So gateway command is 8082, gateway query is 8081, and it sends a relevant request, which is post to there and read to here. So get goes here, post goes there. You can see the different instances being loaded here. And so that hits those, and those generate the commands, and the commands then get sent to the topics. The topics are picked up by hotel write, and user-based right at the moment. So there is our user topic being picked up, and hotel right. Hotel. This is our topic's been picked up. When it picks it up, it goes through the event. If there was an error, you can see it generates this WebSocket message, so which is back to the client, which is gateway command at the moment, and it sends back a socket message based on a success or an error form, or this is the events as such. That's what they call them. This is the errors, and this is. It also sets the ID, so when it's created a new one, it kind of gets the ID that was saved, and it sends it back to the chat client, basically the WebSocket client, which is our gateway that you just saw a minute ago, over here, and this picks up, and it's already got a concurrent map of current submissions, which is when the user opens a connection, it puts the session inside it with their current username, and when it receives back a type form of a message, whether it's an error or a success, it finds that user session through the current submissions and sends them directly a message back. Now that message is then picked up by the front end. So in hotel, it has this thing where it does this WebSocket connection, and when there's a socket message back, it triggers various things on the page. So basically, this becomes false, which means basically, enable the submit button, and then it generates errors or success messages on the screen, and does other things by adding the hotel into the current list. Now, the listing on front-end Vue.js was recently or last night changed to go into store dispatch. I've kind of talked about this on the README. So the actual listing on the page is being handled not by this hotel.vue, but in the store as hotel.js, and you can see here it connects to gateway query, and it sends a list to it, and it gets back the data and puts it inside its state. And when you update a record, it kind of pushes it back in and takes out the old one and stuff like that. So that's really the whole walkthrough. And obviously the bit I haven't talked about, which is in hotel right or user right, it does this other thing, which is to say, where is it gone? Where is it gone? Oh, to do update, sorry. So for example, in the update, it has another topic. So in the services of hotel service on the right side and the user service on the user's right side, it has another topic, which is the read or hotel read or user read. And it uses the event publisher again, and it's got its own publisher like the gateway, and it republishes, as you can see here, a new command. So hotel update became hotel updated command. It changed its event type and it published that event. That event is then picked up by read, and read has its own listener. And it now looks for, so in the right event listener, it looked for hotel save command or hotel update command. In the event listener of the read, sorry, on this side, saved and created and updated and deleted command. And in this delete me, it does something slightly different. So basically the modeling of the hotel object in read is slightly different to the model of the hotel in write. In the hotel read, we have the user object isn't a user object. It's the physical things we needed out of the user, which was their username and user ID, which was already provided, and the username is looked up dynamically, and that's done by the right side. So when it did the save, so in save, it did this thing, set username, and it went off and did this user read client find by ID and found the username of that user and set this value of this username in the created command to be whatever it found it to be. And right just picked it up and said, well, that's all I need. So I'll add that to my domain object. And you can see the difference, subtle difference here. In the actual domain object of the hotel on right, you just have update user ID. And there is no user object because that's all it cares about. On the read side, it's got username and user ID. So we've collected one more bit of information. Now that could have been many different bits of information that made the model for reading. So that's the whole thing explained, hopefully, and we'll go through it now and we'll see it working. So we want to go, so basically I did a similar video on Grell's Micronaut Vuejs CRUD. And this follows that same concept, but it's all through CQRS. So everything that happens looks similar, but it's all being done very, very differently. So this is our listing. We can sort by columns and everything exactly like before. And all of this stuff actually happens like the normal stuff that was happening on CRUD, because when it hits gateway query, it hits the client of HTTP, and that talks to another client on the read side. So that's all normal. There's more to do with the add-in, which is all very different. So if we try and add now, watch what happens here now on the page. First of all, we've got a connection to WebSockets. I want to try and show you what happens. So if I add this, see it's gone to right, it's hit a validation error, and then it's come back as a message as WebSockets on page, and the buttons become available. So the button goes away into, you can't use it at the point, but when it's come back with a message, we've got the actual messages back from Hotel Right, which went to gateway, from gateway to through to front end to the user on Vuejs. That's how the messages have gone. And if we actually get a hotel to be added, so we'll do test added and make this add. See, the message is gone. We've got a new message. We've got an optional value back. And over here, if we have a look, strange. Maybe it's done on re-listen, because I have put some notes about this, because at the moment it's going to write and getting the ID. Whereas this ID is actually from read, because it's getting the record from another database altogether. So to return something like an ID from when you're doing a validation and write is perhaps not the best of ideas, but it was all about concept. But you can see here the username and the ID has come back, and that's from the user object that's been kind of flattened inside the hotel read domain class. So that was really the video, and everything about it. I haven't really delved into edit and delete. That I have put all the concepts, the conceptual work is there. I haven't really tested it because I've just focused on trying to get the messages to go backwards and forwards through all of these different apps and these environments just to do an ad, and I've got that to work. So I just wanted to demonstrate that, because at the moment we do have a front end validation as well, which was part of the Micronaut Vuejs CRUD, and I think I talk about validation, front end validation, and I think this is front end validation saying to you can't post it until you got that. But all of these checks that you see here, this is all, as you can see, is just messages coming back from WebSockets, and this is the user that's been generated locally on this page. Every time you hit it, you'll get a different user, but it uses that as a way to tally up the socket sessions connected by the user versus what was posted to the backend, because this user also becomes part of the command object, and it's how it's able to say, well, this was the user I need to send the message back to. And this button here, I don't know if you probably don't notice it because it happens so quickly, but it does go into a mode that I can't run again until I have had something back, whether it's a success or a failure. I hope you've enjoyed the video and made sense of what I've said so far. If there's any problems or anything, feel free not to post it. So yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. If I can find it.